The neon-lit streets of 1970s Hong Kong pulsed with restless energy, a vibrant tapestry woven with dreams and ambition. The air crackled with anticipation, a sense of endless possibility hanging heavy in the humid night. A city of dreams and deep loss, a place where fortunes were made and broken with equal speed. The glittering skyline masked a deeper undercurrent of uncertainty and change. In cinema, Bruce Lee's sudden passing left a void that felt impossible to fill. The world mourned the loss of an icon, a martial arts legend whose impact transcended borders. His films were more than just entertainment, they were a cultural phenomenon. Yet in that shadow, a new spark began to glow. A flicker of hope ignited in the hearts of those who yearned for the magic of the little dragon. A young man, Chong Tao, moved with a familiar grace, his movements echoing the power and precision of the late Bruce Lee. He dedicated himself to mastering the art, honing his skills with unwavering focus. His kicks fast, his fists a blur, a whirlwind of controlled energy unleashed with devastating force. Each strike was a testament to his dedication and countless hours of training. Soon the world would know him as Bruce Lee, a name that carried the weight of expectation, a name that promised a continuation of the legend. He wasn't the original, but he had a fire all his own, a unique intensity that set him apart. He possessed a burning desire to prove himself, to carve his own path in the world of martial arts cinema. Ready to be tested in Hong Kong's demanding film industry, a crucible where only the strongest survived. The studios were a hive of activity, buzzing with creativity and ambition. Producers, desperate to recapture Bruce Lee's magic, saw in him a golden opportunity. They searched for someone who could step into those legendary shoes, someone who could reignite the passion of audiences worldwide. They found their man in Chong Tao, a young martial artist brimming with potential. He had the look, the charisma, the undeniable screen presence, the skill and the discipline, honed through years of relentless training and unwavering dedication. But with this opportunity came immense weight, the burden of expectation pressing down on his young shoulders. He was asked not just to act, but to become an echo of a myth, a living tribute to a fallen icon. Every move, every glare, would be measured against the master, scrutinized by a world eager to find fault. Yet Chong Tao stepped forward undeterred by the immense pressure, not to replace a hero, but to continue a legacy, to honor the spirit of Bruce Lee through his own unique interpretation. On set, his focus was absolute. Every movement precise, every expression carefully crafted. The camera loved him, capturing his raw energy and undeniable charisma. He was a cinematic warrior, born for this moment, ready to embrace his destiny. The world watched, waiting to see if this new Bruce could deliver, if he could capture the hearts of audiences and carry the torch of martial arts cinema. And Bruce Lee, with a heart full of courage and a spirit ready to fight, was ready to give them a show they'd never forget, a performance that would solidify his place in cinematic history. Before the lights of Hong Kong, there was a boy in Taiwan, Chong Tao. He wasn't born into fame, but he was drawn to martial arts with rare dedication. He trained in gymnastics, karate, and taekwondo, shaping himself into a formidable martial artist. Then Bruce Lee exploded onto the world stage, and for Ho, it was a revelation. He studied Lee's films obsessively, not to imitate but to understand the essence of his power. He trained harder, analyzing every movement, every nuance. This wasn't about fame, it was about excellence. In the quiet halls of Taiwan, he built the foundation that would later withstand the storm of the film industry. Chong Tao was unknowingly preparing for a destiny far bigger than he could have imagined. In 1973, the world stood still as news broke of Bruce Lee's death. The little dragon, as he was affectionately known, was gone. The news sent shockwaves worldwide, leaving legions of devoted fans in utter disbelief and the Hong Kong film industry in a state of unprecedented chaos. A void had been created that seemed impossible to fill. Producers, ever mindful of the bottom line and desperate to fill the void, began searching for the next big thing, the next martial arts sensation. This desperation inadvertently created a new, somewhat controversial subgenre, Bruceploitation. Actors were thrust into the spotlight, given names deliberately similar to the fallen icon, like Bruce Lee. Others adopted monikers such as Dragon Lee, all hoping to capture a piece of the Bruce Lee magic. And the films themselves shamelessly mimicked Lee's signature style, his iconic moves, and even his film titles. Into this whirlwind of imitation and opportunity stepped Chong Tao, a young martial artist. He was quickly chosen for his uncanny resemblance to Bruce Lee and his impressive martial arts prowess. He underwent a transformation and officially became Bruce Lee, a name that carried immense weight and expectation. He was now the heir apparent, poised to ascend to the dragon's vacant throne. The transformation was swift and meticulously planned. He was meticulously coached and asked to mimic Li's signature moves, studying hours of footage to perfect the nuances. He worked tirelessly to replicate Li's intense facial expressions, even mastering his iconic gestures, the subtle flicks of the wrist, the focused gaze. For Chong Tao, now Bruce Lee, it was a whirlwind of both immense excitement and overwhelming pressure. His first films as Bruce Lee were surprisingly instant hits, achieving significant box office success, especially in overseas markets. Audiences, still deeply grieving the loss of their idol, cautiously yet enthusiastically embraced this new performer. He wasn't Bruce Lee. No one could ever truly replace him. But he brought a unique blend of speed, undeniable power, and a raw, untamed energy to the screen that captivated audiences worldwide. The era of Bruceploitation, for better or worse, had undeniably found its king. Bruce Lee rose rapidly from relative obscurity, a virtual unknown in the film world, and he ascended to become one of Asia's most bankable and sought-after stars, a true box office champion. His journey, forever intertwined and linked to the legacy of the martial arts legend who inspired him, Bruce Lee. With Bruceploitation in full swing, Bruce Lee became an international sensation. His films, Fist of Fury 2, The Dragon's Claw, flooded cinemas worldwide. On screen he paid skillful homage to Bruce Lee, wielding nunchaku and executing flying kicks with precision. Critics were divided, some saw a copycat, others recognized his genuine talent and charisma. Audiences didn't care about the debate, they wanted action, and Bruce Lee delivered. He fought with desperation and heart, building a loyal global fan base. His reign was a whirlwind of non-stop work and relentless production. He became one of the most recognizable faces of 1970s kung fu cinema. His success was built on years of hard training and a real connection with audiences. Bruce Lee was more than a clone, he was a star in his own right. Behind the fame, Chong Tao faced a personal struggle. Every day he looked in the mirror and saw a reflection that wasn't entirely his own. The pressure to imitate Bruce Lee was immense, affecting even how he walked and talked. He was grateful for success but yearned to be recognized for his own talents. The internal battle was lonely. He was a creator forced to be a replicator. Producers demanded more Bruce Lee, stifling his creativity. He wondered if he'd ever escape the Bruce Lee label and be known as Chong Tao. This was a fight far harder than any on screen. A battle for his own identity. The world saw a confident action hero, but behind the facade was a man searching for himself. This struggle would define the next phase of his life in cinema. As the 1970s drew to a close, a significant shift was taking place in the world of martial arts cinema. The landscape was changing, and audiences were craving something more authentic. Bruce Lee, having been carefully molded into a particular image, began to push back against the confines of that box. He felt a strong desire to break free from expectations. He actively sought roles that would allow him to showcase his own personality, his own unique charisma, and his own interpretation of the martial arts hero. He was consciously risking the very formula that had initially catapulted him to fame, understanding that true artistry sometimes requires bold steps. His film, The Chinese Stuntman, released in 1981, marked a significant turning point in his career, a pivotal moment of self-expression. In this project, he not only starred as the lead, but also took on the roles of writer and director, pouring his heart and soul into every aspect of the production. He was telling a story that resonated deeply with his own experiences, drawing from his personal journey and observations. Within the narrative, he fearlessly explored themes of identity, the harsh realities of exploitation within the film industry, and the relentless struggle for respect and recognition in a world often driven by superficiality. Beyond acting, he began to consciously alter and refine his fighting style, moving away from imitation. He was intent on showcasing the full and diverse range of his martial arts abilities, demonstrating his mastery and innovation. Attentive fans and critics alike began to notice this significant shift in his approach. A fighter who was visibly growing more confident and comfortable in his own skin, embracing his unique identity. He was consciously moving away from being just an echo or a mere imitation, and instead, was actively finding and amplifying his own distinct and powerful voice within the industry. This period of artistic exploration and self-discovery ultimately won him a new level of respect within the film community, even if the films themselves didn't always achieve the same level of commercial success as his earlier works. He definitively proved to the world that he was far more than just a Bruce Lee look-alike. He was a true and multifaceted filmmaker, a dedicated martial artist, and a creative force to be reckoned with. Chong Tao, in his own right, was finally realizing his vision and making the kinds of movies that he truly wanted to make, on his own terms. By the mid-1980s, Bruceploitation faded and Hong Kong cinema evolved. Bruce Lee saw his chapter as a film star closing and made a graceful exit. He returned to Taiwan, dedicating himself to teaching martial arts. No longer Bruce Lee the movie star, he became Master Ho, sharing his knowledge with students. It was a return to his roots, finding fulfillment in teaching rather than fame. The pressures of imitation were gone. He was free to be himself. He focused on discipline, hard work, and self-respect, shaping a new generation. His influence was now measured by the growth of his students, not box office numbers. He found a new purpose, more meaningful than his time in movies. Trading the silver screen for the training hall, he set an inspiring example of graceful change. Today, Bruce Lee's story stands as a testament to resilience and the power of self-discovery. He entered cinema under the largest shadow imaginable, tasked with being someone else. For years, he thrilled millions, but his true legacy is his struggle for identity. He fought not just on screen, but for his own soul, refusing to be just a copy. Stepping out of the shadow, he directed his own films and found his own voice. His final act, becoming a teacher, completed his journey. He showed that true success is about finding peace and purpose, not just fame. His story is a lesson in perseverance and courage to forge your own destiny. He lived in the dragon's shadow, but fought his way into the light. That is the legacy of a true fighter.